Welcome to our show, where we embark on a fascinating journey to explore the hidden world of Agartha in Messages of Peace from the Inner Earth, Part 1 of 3.
Have you ever dreamed of a place far away from it all, where the air you breathe is soft and clean, children play fields of green, where the sounds of guns never pound your dream anymore?
Deep within our Earth, hidden beyond tunnels and entryways, safely guarded from the surface world, is the land of Agartha, also known as Shambhala, where a highly advanced human civilization lives in devotion to spiritual enlightenment, peace, and universal laws. Since ancient times, this enigmatic realm beneath our feet has been a recurring theme in global mythology and oral traditions, adding a layer of historical depth to our understanding.
It is genuinely very strange that in every continent of our planet, we find a multitude of legends telling of deep tunnels that lead to a hidden underground godlike civilization. In Egypt, ancient historians made a number of references to a network of passages connecting the major pyramids, the Sphinx, and other underground locations. In particular, a colossal underground city of 3,000 chambers, lavishly decorated, known in Egyptian legends as the City of the Gods. And again with the tunnels, there is an old Apache legend about a long and deep cave in Arizona which is said to lead to an inner earth kingdom inhabited by a mysterious tribe. Shambhala has played a role in nearly every Tibetan tradition, and surrounding geographic regions such as Mongolia, India, and China have direct mythological parallels to this inner earth civilization of technologically and spiritually advanced, godlike people. The most ancient Hindu and Buddhist scriptures speak of Shambhala as if it actually exists. It has a specified lineage of 32 rulers, a population of at least 20,000 when the city was built, and a geopolitical history recorded in the ancient Buddhist text, the Kalachakra Tantra.
On the existence of Shambhala, His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama said,
"We can only say that it is a pure lamp in the human realm, and unless one has the merit and the actual karmic association, one cannot actually arrive there."
The land of Agartha was first introduced to the Western world in 1886 by French philosopher and occultist Alexandre Saint-Yves d'Alvedra in his book Mission de l'Inde, or Mission of India.
According to Saint-Yves, the hidden land of Agartha lies deep below the surface of the earth, somewhere in the mountain ranges of the Himalayas. He goes on to reveal that the Agarthian civilization was once above ground, but driven under and concealed from the rest of the world at the onset of the Kali Yuga. Agartha is prophesied to reveal itself to the surface once again, but only once the world above attains spiritual balance in our governance. Saint-Yves would write in his book, Mission of India, that the world of Agartha will be accessible for all mankind when Christianity lives up to the commandments which were once drafted by Moses and God.
In the 1920s, famed Russian theosophists and founders of the Agni Yoga Society, Nicholas and Elena Rerik, both vegetarians, led an extensive 5-year expedition covering 15,000 miles across Central Asia and Tibet in search of the mystical land of Shambhala. Even though the mission was publicly declared unsuccessful, Nicholas Roerich left behind journal entries and illustrious paintings that lead us to believe they may have indeed found the entrance to Shambhala.
In his paintings, he began obsessively depicting a figure he believed to be the messianic ruler of Shambhala, a being who, according to ancient prophecies, was destined to appear on earth for the final destruction of the wicked, the renovation of creation, and the restoration of purity. One of the final events recorded in Nicholas's diary was a description of a flying craft, which 7 members of their crew witnessed. In his own words,
"On August 5th, something remarkable. We were in our camp in the Kukunar district, not far from the Humboldt chain. We all saw, in a direction from north to south, something big and shiny reflecting the sun, like a huge oval moving at great speed. And we saw how it disappeared into the intense blue sky."
First, when Nicholas's diary was finally made public, there was a rather strange entry recorded in the remote valley of Umon, where an old monk led them to the back of a temple, where a large cave opening was blockaded by carefully cut stones. The monk stated that it was a holy entrance to the inner earth kingdom of Shambhala, and forbid them from entering.
Welcome back to our show, Messages of Peace from the Inner Earth, Part 1 of 3. While explorers have persistently tried to find the entry points into Agartha or Shambhala, it seems more so that the Inner Earth citizens only reveal themselves to share urgent warnings to help guide humanity towards peace. Such is the case with the fascinating story of Admiral Byrd.
Probably the most famous and detailed account of the world inside the Earth comes from Admiral Richard E. Byrd. Admiral Byrd was an aviation pioneer, polar explorer, and one of the most decorated and celebrated officers in the history of the American military.
In the mid-1940s, Admiral Byrd led a United States Navy expedition in Antarctica called Operation High Jump. While flying across the icy landscapes, he began to see unexplainable phenomena, such as grassy fields, forests, rivers, and a woolly mammoth. Soon, multiple disc-shaped craft surrounded his plane, guiding him into a mysterious city below. The following account is from Admiral Byrd's secret journal, which is believed to have been found after his death.
From this point, I write all the following events here from memory. It defies the imagination and would seem all but madness if it had not happened. The radio man and I are taken from the aircraft, and we are received in a most cordial manner. As we approach, the city seems to be made of a crystal material. One of my hosts speaks. "Have no fear, Admiral. You are to have an audience with the master." I step inside and my eyes adjust to the beautiful coloration that seems to be filling the room completely. What greeted my eyes is the most beautiful sight of my entire existence. It is in fact too beautiful and wondrous to describe.
Admiral Byrd then details his meeting with the Master.
He speaks softly again and conveys the following. "We have let you enter here because you are of noble character and well known on the surface world, Admiral. You are in the domain of the Ariani, the inner world of the earth. But now, Admiral, I shall tell you why you have been summoned here. Our interest rightly begins just after your race exploded the first atomic bombs over Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan. It was at that alarming time we sent our flying machines, the Flugelrad, say, to your surface world to investigate what your race had done. You see, we have never interfered before in your race's wars and barbarity, but now we must, for you have learned to tamper with a certain power that is not for man, namely, that of atomic energy. Our emissaries have already delivered messages to the powers of your world, and yet they do not heed. Now you have been chosen to be witness here that our world does exist. You see, our culture and science is many thousands of years beyond your race, Admiral. So now I say to you, my son, there is a great storm gathering in your world, a black fury that will not spend itself for many years. There will be no answer in your arms. There will be no safety in your science. The dark ages that will come now for your race will cover the earth like a pall, but I believe that some of your race will live through the storm. Beyond that, I cannot say. We see at a great distance a new world stirring from the ruins of your race, seeking its lost and legendary treasures, and they will be here, my son, safe in our keeping. When that time arrives, we shall come forward again to help revive your culture and your race. Perhaps by then you will have learned the futility of war and its strife, and after that time certain of your culture and science will be returned for your race to begin anew. You, my son, are to return to the surface world with this message.
With those parting words, Admiral Byrd's meeting with the Master was concluded. He was then ushered back to his plane and flew back to his encampment in Antarctica, where the legitimacy of Admiral Byrd's diary entries cannot be confirmed or denied. It does appear we are living in the Dark Ages as prophesied by the Master. Even though humanity currently faces unprecedented challenges, we can immediately change our course toward a benevolent and peaceful society simply by ending all violence, following God's laws, and adhering to the compassionate vegan lifestyle. Welcome to our show, Messages of Peace from the Inner Earth, Part 2 of 3. On our planet, a mystical land lies hidden below the surface, known as Agartha or Shambhala. People in this advanced society live in harmony with God's laws and dedicate themselves to spiritual enlightenment, technological innovation, and community upliftment, showcasing their profound wisdom. In Part 1, we learned about the ancient mythology of Inner Earth and Admiral Richard E. Byrd's journey to meet the Ariani Master. who warned him that humanity must immediately halt the use of atomic energy. In this episode, we travel to California, United States, to learn more about Agartha from Sharula Dux, a Lemurian princess who came to the surface world from the inner earth city of Telos, located beneath Mount Shasta. In the early 1990s, Sharula Dux hosted conferences, provided interviews, and recorded tapes to educate people about Agarthan culture and Earth's ancient calamities, which are pertinent to our modern times. She begins by providing insights into the Atlantis-Lemurian War from 25,000 years ago.
Let me tell you a tale of two continents. One in the Atlantic, called Atlantis, another in the Pacific, called Lemuria, or Mu. 25,000 years ago, these two continents were battling each other on the ideology of the day. The Lemurians felt that the other, less evolved cultures should be left alone to continue on their own evolution scale. The Atlanteans believed that all the less evolved cultures should be brought under sway by the two evolved ones. This caused a series of wars between Atlantis and Lemuria. In these series of wars, thermonuclear devices were used. And when the wars were over and the dust cleared, in reality, there was no winner. The outback in Australia, the Mojave Desert, parts of the Gobi Desert, and the Sahara are all remains to remind man of the futility of this type of war. Lemuria and Atlantis itself became the victims of their own aggressions. Both the Lemurian homeland and the Atlantean homeland had been weakened by the wars. Thus, they knew that in about 15,000 years, both of their continents were going to sink completely. You might say, why would the people be upset at that time for something that was going to happen 15,000 years in the future? In those days, people lived for 20, 30,000 years commonly. They understood many of those who caused the havoc would see the end of the destruction.
Knowing Earth's surface would soon be decimated due to their nonsensical use of thermonuclear weapons, Atlantis and Lemuria petitioned the Agarthan network to join the inner Earth Kingdom.
When Lemuria, which went down first almost 200 years before Atlantis sunk, they petitioned the Agartha network. The Agartha network is a network of subterranean cities that is guided by a city called Shambhala the Lesser, to distinguish it from Shambhala the Greater, which is the etheric Shambhala over the Gobi Desert. When Atlantis and Lemuria petitioned to build subterranean cities themselves and to be accepted into the Agarthian network, they had to prove to Shambhala the Lesser that they had learned the lessons of aggression, that they had learned the lessons of war.
Lemuria and Atlantis received approval from the Agarthan network to construct subterranean cities within the inner Earth to save their civilizations. The Lemurians chose to build their city called Telos beneath Mount Shasta, located in Northern California.
California was part of the colonies, part of the area of the Lemurian lands, and they understood that Mount Shasta and those areas of California would survive the cataclysms. Mount Shasta already being a place of great sacredness on this planet. And there was already a very large domed cavern within it. And they decided to build upon that. And they constructed the city that we now call Telos. Telos was the name of the whole area of much of what is now the Southwest and much of what is now California was originally called Telos, which meant communication with spirit, oneness with spirit, understanding with spirit. It was constructed to hold a maximum of 2 million people.
However, due to the rapid escalation of cataclysms caused by thermonuclear weapons, the Lemurians were only able to bring 25,000 citizens into Telos.
The volcanoes started erupting so fast and sent so much debris into the air that where they had intended to try and save at least 1 million people from the Lemurian mainlands, they were only able to save 25,000. Thus, that was what was left of the Lemurian culture.
Lemurian Princess Sharula Dax shares insights into Atlantis' last days.
Atlantis itself started shaking at the same time Lemuria was going down. And Atlantis continued to shake and lose parts of its land for 200 years before it too finally went completely down. The Atlanteans moved into their city, which was built underneath the Mato Grosso plateau in what is now Brazil, which had been Atlantean territories at that time.
After Atlantis and Lemuria settled their survivors into Agartha, the fallout of the nuclear war devastated Earth's surface for over 2,000 years, destroying most of the flora, fauna, and human civilizations at that time.
For almost 2,000 years after the Atlantean and Lemurian catastrophes, the planet was still shaking. To lose 2 huge land masses within 200 years of each other, plus the planet was still witnessing the effects of the thermonuclear weapons that had been used in the Atlantean-Lemurian wars. Plus the fact that so much debris had been thrown into the atmosphere that it never became quite bright daylight for almost 300 years after Atlantis' destruction. This caused many, many life forms, plant forms, to go extinct in those civilizations that survived it. Egypt, Peru, Rama, better known as India. In many places, people became so frightened by the constant earth activity that civilization started deteriorating very, very fast. Most of the cities were shook to rubble. Even those who survived even the tidal waves, even the earthquakes. Hunger was rampant. Disease was rampant. Some areas of civilization, like those future named Egypt and such, did survive. They even kept their civilization intact. But even they started losing the highest elements of their civilization.
In modern times, evidence is surfacing about the existence of Atlantis, Lemuria, and other highly advanced societies on our planet, as well as possible human-induced calamities that occurred thousands of years ago. Our most beloved Supreme Master Qinghai, Vegan, has also shared revelations into the destruction of Atlantis and Lemuria.
In the old time, long time ago in the history of mankind, we have Atlantis, we have Lemuria, yes, we have the Mu people. And they had far more advanced technology than we have right now. Now, we could all imagine it, but still they destroy themselves because they did not pay attention to the karmic consequences, to the law of impeccable universe karma pattern. Do you understand me? It's not even a little feather can escape the karmic consequences of the universal law. They rely on high tech, you know, they rely on their intellectual cleverness on the mind, and they think they can invent this, invent that, and they will stop this, stop that, but all gone. It's good that we can dig out some of these remnants and then think about it.
Through the Ariani Master's message to Admiral Richard E. Byrd, highlighted in Part 1, and Sharula Duck's account of the ancient Atlantis-Lemurian War, the Inner Earth people seem to be alerting humanity to turn away from violence, war, and the use of atomic and nuclear energy and weapons, to ensure we do not make the same planet-destroying mistake as our ancestors. Aligning with these warnings, Supreme Master Qinghai revealed in March 2025 that a malfunctioning nuclear fusion system in China put Earth on the brink of devastation.
So if we don't stop this fusion, the energy of the fusion will disturb the cycle of the spinning of the planet. And, oh God, and the world, as we know it now, will end. 1 day and 12 hours, that's the time we have to fix this. Pray God.
By the grace of God Almighty, the Most High, the greatest, and prompt action by the Chinese government, the crisis was averted. However, Now Earth faces another planetary emergency. On April 2nd, 2025, Supreme Master Ching Hai shared the following urgent message.
God told me that humans should fear forward destruction and fear forward karma. And I asked God, what shall we fear for now? And God said that the earth will explode. And I said, but when? So he said from 1st of June, 2025 until November 15th, same year. So I'm told that the magnetic field does not shield Earth because it has some damage and it's getting bigger. 67% of the population will die. And 25% wounded. Oh, sorry, 15% wounded.
Similar to Atlantis and Lemuria facing the karmic consequences of their destructive ways 25,000 years ago, our modern civilization seems to be at the same critical boiling point. However, we still have time to avert this potential calamity. We must learn from humanity's past mistakes and adapt the ways of the advanced inner Earth society. We must turn to God and we must go vegan. Welcome to the concluding episode of our show, Messages of Peace from the Inner Earth, Part 3 of 3. Throughout our series, we have discovered fascinating insights into the inner Earth realm, known as Agartha or Shambhala, and the ancient Atlantis-Lemurian war that devastated our planet 25,000 years ago. In this final episode, we will share an inside look into Agarthan culture, which is built upon universal laws, social unity, and spiritual ideals taught by enlightened masters from time immemorial. Once again, we are joined by Sharula Dux, a Lemurian princess from the subterranean city of Telos, located underneath Mount Shasta in Northern California, United States. She begins with an overview of the Agartha network.
Agartha is a confederation of several subterranean cities. As a matter of fact, there's over 120 of them. Some of them that were built in the very early times, such as Shambhala the Lesser, which is peopled with beings from Hyperborea. These are 12-foot tall beings, being as man on this planet, as on many other planets in the solar system, was originally of a height of about 12 feet. Within the Agartha network, the cities that are allowed to join are only those that are based on light principles, only those that are based on love, only those that does not hurt, only those that are based on non-aggression.
Aligning with love and non-aggression, all residents of Sharula Duck's home city of Telos adhere to a fully vegan lifestyle.
The diet, which is in Telos, consists almost completely of vegetables, fruits, grains, nuts, and different variations of these, such as your soy, your other grains that now produce what you call your meat substitutes. We have been on a vegetarian diet in Telos now for over 12,000 years from the time when the city was first started being built. It was decided at that point that our diet would consist of totally vegetarian, therefore also removing the aggressive thought forms that causes animals to react so violently, and also the fact that a human body was meant to be on a vegetarian diet, and any other form of diet actually produces death and aging.
Inner-Earth citizens can live for thousands of years because of their vegan diet, healthy living conditions, and absence of negative thought forms.
In Telos, people don't believe they're going to grow old and die. People just know that they're going to live as long as they choose. Then they will either choose to drop their body if they feel that they still have lessons to do and reincarnate again, or they will choose the path of ascension. Some people make the decision in 600 years, some 300, others wait for 5,000, 10,000.
The city of Telos spans across 5 subterranean levels, with each floor designated for specific functions that contribute to society.
Telos is built under a dome that reaches quite a few hundred feet from floor to ceiling and spreads across most of what would be the base of Mount Shasta. Underneath that are 5 more levels that had been constructed. These levels are divided up by usage. The top level, being under the dome itself, is where the main part of the city is. This is where the majority of the people live. This is where the public buildings are. This is where most commerce takes place. The second level down is where manufacturing takes place. Some classes take place, and also more people live on. The third level down is totally hydroponic gardens, where we grow all of our food supplies. The fourth level down is half hydroponic gardens, part nature, and part manufacturing. The final level down is what we call our nature level. In this level, we have created lakes, tall trees, park-type atmospheres. This is where animals live. We have had animals underneath for so long that they have lost their aggressions.
Not only are the people of Telos vegan, but so are the free-roaming animal citizens.
And these animals have also been fed a vegetarian diet, including the things such as the big cats, for going on thousands and thousands of years now, which has also taken away much of their aggression. Therefore, you're able to go down and in many incidences, taking into consideration their great size and strength, you're basically able to play with a saber-tooth or a Bengal tiger, much as you would a house cat by scratching their chest or under their ear.
Another core element of the Agarthan society is spirituality. Directly at the city center of Telos is a massive pyramid-shaped temple dedicated to the cosmic priesthood of the Melchizedek.
The building that represents our heart and our soul is the building that is directly in the center of the top level, which is our temple, which is a pyramid-shaped building. The temple at Telos will hold 10,000 people at a time. It was built to be able to hold almost half of the original 25,000 person population. The temple is run by the Melchizedek. The Melchizedek is a cosmic priesthood everywhere in the universe. The Melchizedek exists. It is all those whom are bringing the light plans from the highest realms down to the other realms. They will always place what the light prefers, in essence what God wishes, way over what they desire. Being a temple society, many people take their training at the temple, and many people spend time at the temple. Not just those who end up becoming priests and priestesses, but those who are going into other walks of life, that they need a greater understanding of the human psychic, greater understanding of spirit to achieve their job as it should be done.
The Agartha network is also a member of a cosmic organization known as the Confederation of Planets, which unites peaceful, highly advanced societies across the universe.
Earth is a member of the Confederation. It's just half of Earth forgot, an organization that was created throughout the solar systems and the galaxies that brought different civilizations, different systems together on a basis of brotherhood, on a basis of commerce, on a basis of group exploration, on a basis of interacting with the different systems in a galaxy or without a galaxy.
Other fascinating elements of Agarthan society include the absence of money, 4-hour workdays, and monthly community service by all citizens, from the highest government officials to children. In various teleconferences and lectures, our most beloved Supreme Master Qinghai Vegan has shared insights into the benevolent, spiritually evolved inner Earth civilization.
有一些人呢，他们躲起来在地下的，在我们地球里面的有一些洞啊、山洞啊，就可以他们躲在那边，看见活很久，他们都是说的，活很久很久，几百年都有，而且人长很高，很壮。
Anybody knows about that? People who live underground, about 5 million of them. In different countries. Some in Japan, Taiwan, America. Not in Europe, no. Yeah, spread out under the ground. But they're okay. They have artificial sunlight and it's just like normal. They are very civilized. Very, very developed. Yeah, technically, and they're very highly spiritual as well. They have some masters at 4th level, at least, teaching them. Yeah, they know me. So they keep the tradition like that.
Just like Atlantis and Lemuria 25,000 years ago, humanity is once again at a critical juncture, where our immediate habits and choice will either save or destroy the surface of our planet. In an urgent message on April 4th, 2025, Supreme Master Qinghai revealed how we can avoid a series of cataclysmic events forecasted to occur from June 1st to November 15th, 2025, that would potentially eliminate over 67% of the human population.
Now, I don't know how else to explain to you, but I know for sure that if we go in the compassionate direction, at least stay away from bloodshed and killing, then anything that has to do with killing or bloodshed will stop. And God says that the vegan compassionate energy will terminate the energy of the dark force, and also with prayers. Yes, prayers to God and to all heavenly beings that help us. There's only this solution. I asked God, okay, how much is the minimum percentage of humans to be vegan in order to save this world? I say the minimum would be 96%. So please, again, be vegan right now. Be a savior right now. And thank God for supporting us, protecting us with God's tremendous power. We have to do the 1% part. Be vegan, repentant, go heavens.
More than ever before, humanity must follow in the footsteps of our elder brothers and sisters of the inner earth by putting God first and making the benevolent transformation to a fully vegan world. We thank the people of the Agartha network for sharing revelations into glorious culture and reminding the surface world that if we truly want to become an enlightened society, it begins with peace on our plates and compassion in our hearts towards all life on earth. May the day soon come when our civilizations unite once again.
If we consider veganism as a lifestyle that excludes all forms of exploitation of and cruelty to animals, then technically, this also aligns with Islamic values. Nur Diana Binti Abdul Rahim, vegan. All glory and love to the three reunited most powerful, God, Tim Kwotu, and the Son of God, for all your boundless grace.
Delightful viewers, we appreciate your company watching our show, Messages of Peace from the Inner Earth, Part 3 of 3. May kindness guide your every step toward a peaceful and compassionate world in God's immense mercy.
Being vegan, having peace, heaven Godspeed.